Police officers, I think that they get a bad rap. Shout out to my dog, Fi Brown. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Shout out to Shadow Dragon TV. I appreciate you. Police officers, I think that they get a bad rap. There are some bad ones. But I think that there's more good ones than bad ones. There are more good police officers than bad police officers, and I think that they get in a bad rap. But more importantly, similar to the story, the very first thing that I played, actually the second thing that I played, was police officers over in Syracuse, New York. They got murdered. But the one thing that we don't see, and I don't know if it's just not a popular conversation or it's not a popular subject, but the one thing that we don't see talked about on the news, shout out to Honey Dip, it's what's happening to our beloved police officers. What's happening to our beloved police officers? I'll tell you what's happening to our beloved police officers. Check out what's happening down in Memphis. I heard that it's rough over there in Memphis. I'm going to go to Nashville. I might skip over to Memphis.
Calls for an end to the continuing violence we're seeing in Memphis after a police officer is killed in the line of duty. This is during a shootout with teenage suspects early this morning. Now, 2 other officers were also hurt. An 18-year-old suspect was killed, and the second suspect is in the hospital this afternoon. Kamitra Wilburn is learning how this tragedy unfolded.
A trail of Memphis police officers and multiple ambulances leave the area of Horn Lake Road and Hewlett Road. One of them is carrying Officer Joseph McKinney, who died following a shootout. 2 other officers were also shot, but are expected to be okay.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is leading the case. You can just see how massive this scene is. We've learned that law enforcement has several portions of this neighborhood blocked off. In fact, a few people who live in this area tell me that they cannot access their homes because it's blocked off due to the investigation. We're actually standing just feet away from where those officers were shot.
Memphis police say officers responded to a suspicious vehicle call around 2 a.m. This man, who doesn't want to be identified, says he had seen the car several times the day before.
Supposed to have been doing donuts in the street.
MPD says when officers approached the vehicle, the men inside the car opened fire, striking the 3 officers. Officers fired back, hitting the 2 suspects. The suspects fled the scene, but officers were not far behind. A witness tells us he saw officers chasing after that vehicle.
As I get ready to pull out, I seen the car coming by real fast, 2 police cars coming. Looked like the car that they was chasing hit the speed bump, kind of lost control, and then the cop car stopped behind it. Then I kept hearing people yell, "Get down. Show me your hands."
Several blocks away on Hewlett and Ford, the suspect's vehicle was found sitting in someone's yard, riddled with bullet holes. Both teenage suspects were rushed to the hospital. 18-year-old Jalen Lobley died from his injuries. A 17-year-old is now hospitalized in critical condition.
That was Kamitra Wilburn reporting. Now, Chief Davis also said the 18-year-old suspect, Jalen Lobley, was no stranger to the law either. Court records show he was arrested last month, faced several charges, including auto theft and having a machine gun. When police found the stolen car at his home, they say they discovered a stolen 9mm gun with 30 live rounds and a Glock switch.
Yeah. Rest in peace to the Memphis police officers who will never, ever, ever be able to see their kid again. Rest in peace to the Memphis police officers that woke up this morning and they made the determination that it's a possibility that I may not come home, but I still have to do my job and I got to protect the citizens within the city. Never, ever going to see their family again. Don't worry about it. So we got officers in Syracuse, New York that died, officers in Memphis that died. Seem like a pattern?
It's a dark day for Syracuse. This is our worst nightmare come true. And our thoughts right now are with the families of those 2 officers, those heroes.
A dark day for police departments and first responders across the state. Welcome in on a somber Monday morning. I'm Ryan Dean. Kate will have your forecast in just a few moments. But first, Central New York hearts are waking up heavy after 2 police officers were shot and killed. We have full team coverage this morning. Rachel Polanski is off the desk and in the field. She's anchoring the show from the town of Salina, the scene of last night's tragedy. Downtown is News Channel 9's Andrew Donovan. He'll have more from Upstate University Hospital in Syracuse. Let's start with Rachel. So Rachel, what do we know so far?
It's a somber day for our brothers in blue. This is where that shooting took place. I'm on Darien Drive in the town of Salina, where neighbors are just waking up to a pretty active police presence. So here's what we know so far. All of this began around 7 o'clock last night. According to Syracuse police, officers tried to pull over a suspicious vehicle. The driver took off and officers lost sight of the car, but they had the plate number. And that's what led both Syracuse officers and Onondaga County Sheriff deputies to this home in Salina.
While they were inspecting the vehicle and saw what looked to be guns inside, they heard what sounded like someone manipulating a firearm from inside the residence. Moments later, there was an exchange of gunfire between at least one suspect and the officers and the deputies.
As a result of that gunfire, 1 Syracuse police officer and 1 Onondaga County Sheriff's deputy were killed in the line of duty. The suspect was also killed. Right now, police are not naming any of those involved as they are still notifying all of the family members.
But, and that's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. But there are some rogue police officers, and they're calling them and they're bringing them to task. And see, this is the thing. I think that we should bring everybody to task that's not doing the right thing, but make sure that we acknowledge the people that are doing the right thing and hold them up in prayer and in support.
There's a different kind of gang problem in Los Angeles County. The people meant to serve and protect a population of more than 9 million people, allegedly part of powerful gangs going back decades, according to watchdog groups and the alleged victims of their crimes. Groups of LA sheriff deputies with threatening names like the Banditos, the Cavemen, the Executioners. The deputies rep their cliques, tattooing their bodies with logos and throwing up gang signs. The gangs facing allegations they use violent excessive force against Angelenos.
To me, they're punks. The people that killed my sons, that executed my sons.
And intimidate fellow deputies who don't play along.
Leave dead rats in front of people's homes.
The terrorizing behavior costing the LA County taxpayers a fortune. The Inspector General's office counts $54 million in settlements involving deputy gang activity. The first obstacle to eradicating them, though, many past sheriffs dispute their very existence.
Well, you're still trying to pretend the deputy gang exists and work in the countryside, pillaging.
The investigation continues.
But the current sheriff, Robert Luna, who took office in late 2022, went public with his efforts to combat the problem.
We must eliminate deputy gangs.
A city and state approved civilian oversight commission released a 70-page report last year on how the sheriff's office should crack down on them. The commission's special counsel telling us they turned over a list of more than 20 recommendations. But so far, members of that oversight board, as well as attorneys for the victims, say Sheriff Luna hasn't put a stop to the gangs like he promised.
It's a lot bigger than one sheriff. It's sheriff after sheriff, administration after administration.
In a statement to NBC News, the LA Sheriff's Office say they've drafted a new law enforcement gang, clique, and subgroups policy, but that it's still under negotiation with the powerful deputies union.
So wait. You telling me that they got to form a department within a department in order to root out the gang activity within the department? The department has drafted, now y'all can see why I don't necessarily care for unions. Why? Because they even protect gang members within the community that's supposed to be serving you. The department has crafted new law enforcement gang, clique, and subgroup policy, which has been reviewed by oversight bodies and is now in negotiation with the labor Now with the labor unions and in the meet and conferences process. Have y'all ever watched a movie called The Departed? Have y'all ever watched this movie called The Departed? It was with Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio, and so many others, right? And in The Departed, and I'm not going to tell you what happened or what not happened. Within the department, you had multiple different people that come from shady backgrounds. And Jack Nicholson, who was supposed to be a mob boss, actually had these people groomed since they was in birth, or since they were birthed, or they was young kids, to ultimately be the people that were leading up in what was happening inside of the police department. And so they was leveling up, they was becoming great, and in exchange, Jack Nicholson would feed them different rivals and different information that would allow for them to continue to get promotions and raises. But in a general sense, what was happening was they had eyes on and they controlled what was happening within the police department, even to the point to where they was getting heads up of what was happening before it happened. That's what you see happening here. And you know what they being protected by? A union. You can have all of the tattoos. You can be throwing up gang signs. You can be calling pictures. And guess what? You still out there to be able to be on the prowl. Taxpayer dollars for wrongful settlements, over $50 million. Still out there being able to do what you want to do. And it's these type of police officers that ultimately give the ones that's doing what they're supposed to do a bad name. So then it makes it seem like it's all police officers, when in reality, it's not but a few. Oh man, you gotta watch The Department, Fi Brown. If you haven't watched The Departed, that's an incredible movie. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson. It's a lot of people in that movie. It's some really, really great acting in that movie. Really great acting in that movie. But Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg is in that movie. He's a cop. And so it's a lot of interesting moving parts. But it basically gives you a better perspective of what police officers move like when they dirty and they in certain departments. And instead of us focusing on rooting it out, you got unions that protect them.
Policy, but that it's still under negotiation with the powerful deputies union.
We don't get it! Turn it down! We were trying to publicize the existence of the deputy gangs and put the community in power over the gangs and over the sheriff department itself.
In the meantime, a growing chorus in LA who say it's time to stop waiting for the county or the sheriff to clean things up.
If this gang problem isn't promptly solved, that the next logical step will be federal litigation, the appointment of a monitor, and oversight by a federal judge.
Other police departments who struggled with different issues like excessive force and police bias in cities like Detroit, Seattle, and Pittsburgh all saw what officials say were significant improvements under federal oversight. But the Department of Justice so far hasn't moved in that direction. NBC News reached out to the DOJ for comment but haven't heard back. If these alleged gangs are dealt with, it won't be soon enough for people like Sergeant Rosa Gonzalez.
Hey, hold on. Wait. We give recommendations and saying movies and stuff like that. And there's people in the chat that's saying that they haven't seen the movies. Why are y'all trying to tell what happened in the movie? Stop. Let the people watch the movie for themselves. We just gave a general overview of what the movie was about. Y'all not supposed to be trying to tell what happened at the end of the movie. Good God. Come on, y'all. Let the people be able to watch the movie for themselves so that they can then understand why I'm saying what I'm saying instead of fumbling and good Jesus. Come on, y'all. Stop. Good God. Don't tell the movie. Let the people find out for themselves.
She was retaliated against for speaking out against the East LA Banditos. Gonzalez declined an on-camera interview with NBC News, saying doing so would mean facing further consequences, proving the stronghold these supposed gangs still have over one of the largest populations in the country.
Priya Sridhar, NBC News.
So, it's cops on both ends of the spectrum. It's and I like to be objective, and I want to give it from both perspectives. There's cops on one end of the perspective that's being killed in a line of duty, trying to protect and serve, and criminals are going against them, and those are the ones that we need to celebrate, and those are the ones that we love. And then there's cops that's dirty, that's out here using the police force as an opportunity to be a gang and to take advantage of the community. So, largely, I believe that police officers are good. I think that they come into it doing the right thing. I think for the most part, shout out to Quentin. I think for the most part, we need to celebrate them, and then we need to, on an individual level, root out the bad actors and remove the union that's then preventing us from being able to find out who is who and what is what, and then doing the right thing. So, shout out to all of the good police officers out here running it up. For the bad police officers, we need to hold them accountable.